Hello there my friends, it's 2022, it's Ebird and I'm back. And I hope everybody had a fantastic new year. I know I certainly did. And I've literally just come out of my coma. So here I am with another catch up on 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 Days Season 5. So who are we going to talk about today? Well, the Wheel of Misfortune spins once again for Caleb and Alina. And this week, as we know, with Caleb and Alina, we have her gay best friend Elijah. And he's busy hypothesising that Caleb's an absolute POS. He doesn't believe that Caleb's good enough for Alina, and is, how can we say, extremely robust in making his feelings known. And so even though Caleb's the kind of guy to remind us that he only does fair trade cocaine, and for once, and I do have a feeling it's going to be for one time only, the Ebird's got Caleb's back. I think Elijah's got all the way round, too much to say for himself. Want to hear more? Come on in. Just before we begin, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who subscribed to my channel in 2021. And to all of you who commented on my videos. Thank you so much for making the channel a really interesting place to be. And also for like 99.9% of the time, a really non-toxic comment space. Who'd have thought it possible? But if you haven't yet done so, please make Ebird a very happy Ebird and subscribe to my channel. Just click that big red button. And also, just so the algorithm helps me out, don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoy the video. Right, so without further ado, I give you Caleb and Alina. So last week we had the all-important first meeting, albeit obscured by Mosque. And that was a massive shame, because we literally had no way of knowing how Caleb was really feeling or what he was really thinking when he first clapped eyes on Alina. And guys, I'm just thinking about this. It's the first time that I can actually say there's been a really good reason for not wearing masks. Well, I guess that and the fact you can't be fucked. But all of this leads me to make just one statement. TLC, pull your socks up. They get all involved in people's business when we don't want them to or when we don't need them to. But yet, at times like this, when we need them to just interject and to just say, pull off your mask as you walk towards her, they go missing, they go silent. Shame on you, TLC, shame on you. And so when Caleb walked up to Alina in the airport, he said, it's kind of surreal seeing you for the first time. You're sort of a lot smaller than I thought you would be. And the truth be told, when she stands up next to Caleb, she's a lot smaller than I thought she would be as well. And I'm not sure, but I get the feeling that Caleb didn't even realise how much she relied on the use of her wheelchair. And when they left the airport for their car, Alina had to teach Caleb how to fold her wheelchair up and put it into the boot. And you could tell all of this was quite a lot for Caleb. And he later tells us that he needs time to adjust to a little person, and then he thinks the chemistry will fly back. Oh dear, so the chemistry's gone, has it, Caleb? And I'm not going to lie, I had a very high level of trepidation about this meeting. And after watching last week's show, I was extremely worried. And then when they arrived at the hotel, Alina had a few problems. It was difficult for her to get out of the taxi. And then also the stairs were a challenge for her. And again, Caleb tells us it's been more challenging than he thought. And he said he's never ever considered if somewhere was wheelchair accessible or not. And it's all a little overwhelming. Oh dear, Caleb, if you're overwhelmed by this, wait until you meet the gay best mate. Then it really will be all too much for you. For Caleb is the kind of guy who likes the sound of his own voice and the sight of his own reflection. I've got every reason to believe he's not going to like Elijah one little bit. And so on to this week's episode. It's the morning after the night before, and Alina's laying in bed, and she's very upset as they didn't kiss or cuddle or anything. And Caleb's busy talking to production, and he too says we didn't have sex and we didn't even kiss or cuddle because I wasn't feeling it. Things were getting in my head about our physical differences. And also, I was really, really tired. What? Really tired? Caleb, are you actually saying these words? You were too tired for sex. Oh, Caleb, a lie you a tell. Now guys, I know this is a really common and popular thing to say. I've been travelling for 30 hours. I'm so tired. I mean, maybe this is time zone based, I don't know. But I'm never really that tired when getting off a long flight. In fact, I'm the opposite. I'm raring to go. After all, mostly all you've been doing for the whole time is sitting down. How do you get tired? Sitting down. It's a poser. It really is. Guys, Caleb was too tired for sex. I honestly don't even think I've heard a man say he's too tired for sex. Although, maybe I have. Maybe I've just blocked it out. Who knows? I just found it a little bit rich. I think the physical differences were what has overwhelmed Caleb. But I guess the nature of their meeting, if he'd have just decided, for instance, to go to Russia and he was going to meet up with her when he got there just casually, it might have been an easier introduction, perhaps a softer landing. But the way they're meeting here in Turkey, staying in the same hotel room right from the word go, means that this is a very high-stakes game of poker. But instead of playing poker, Caleb was playing knockout whist. Never mind. But one of the things that I really did like was how Alina dealt with this whole situation. The next morning, instead of being a little bitch-ass about Caleb and slating him to Elijah, her gay best friend, she took Caleb to task with exactly no compromises. And she said, it just felt like you weren't excited to see me or anything. And you know, I'm not begging you for it. It's okay. I'm not like a thirsty-ass bit. 10 points, Alina, for the use of the word thirsty-ass. Alina's English really is on point. And Caleb, because I think he felt a little bit awkward, started smiling. And she said, what the fuck? What are you smiling at? Is this funny to you? Is this a joke? And he said, no, I do take it seriously, but let's just wait and see how things go. And they have a little kiss and cuddle on the bed. And then the gifting ceremony begins. So his gifts were as thus: a necklace made of driftwood. Oh, really? Ugh, take it back. And Alina's a girl after my own heart because she said, right, a necklace made of trash. And guys, it was exactly what I was thinking. But he explained, it's not made of trash. It's eco-friendly. It's recycled wood. And it seemed when he said that, she liked it a little bit more. But his next present was, I don't know, a little bit weird. He came with a massive rucksack for her to fit in when they go hiking. Guys, I found this really, really weird. Especially when you consider that he's surprised how small she is. Imagine if she was bigger. She wouldn't even fit in it. It's unbelievable to me that you think it's acceptable to say to a little person, fit in this rucksack and I will carry you around. It's bizarre. But surprisingly enough, Alina liked the idea. And I think she didn't like the idea as such, but I think she liked the fact that he'd been considering her before he'd seen her or before they'd got together. So he'd been thinking about what activities he wanted to do with her and how he could facilitate her doing them with her disabilities. So I guess that is something. But I doubt the LPA, Little People's Association, all respectability. Look it up, guys, look it up. Would like any of what Caleb said. But then again, everyone is a separate individual person, so I guess if Alina likes it, I love it. I'm not saying that I found it offensive, but some might find it offensive. I do offending more than offended. But there was something that I was a little bit offended by. And it was something that literally scarred my freaking retinas. And when I saw this, I actually shouted out loud, fuck me, what are you wearing? Yes, that's right. It was Caleb's amazing technicoloured spandex leggings. What? Caleb, where do they do that at? Please tell me, where do they do that at? And also from here on in, please spare me the I'm worried about the environment shtick. And it's a very well-known fact that spandex is entirely non-biodegradable and that it has to be treated in order for it to decompose. So I don't want to hear any more chit-chat about you and the environment and the earth and sustainability. Why should you still ensconce yourself in such garments? And also as an addendum to that, I'd like to say, if you are going to ensconce yourself in such garments, please make them just the one colour, a dark blue or black, that will do. Right, that's it, I'm done being offended, and I'm back on being offensive. And next up, Caleb asks to meet Elijah. Ask and you shall receive. Or should I say, be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. And the couple go over to Elijah's apartment. And to say he had a bit of an attitude problem is the understatement of the year. I know we're only 6 days in, but it's still quite some understatement. Elijah had an attitude with him from the jump. And so they walk into the apartment and guys, he didn't even stand to greet Caleb. I mean, maybe that's a Russian thing, I don't know. But he sat there with his legs crossed, appraising him and looking him up and down. Caleb didn't know what to say, so he awkwardly sat down. And he said, oh, you look different from the way I thought you would. And Elijah said, is that a good or a bad thing? And he said, no, it's a good thing. I mean, you look stunning. And then Elijah takes to production. And he says, my role in Turkey is to protect Alina and to see if Caleb is a good guy for her. Is that your role, Elijah? I thought it was to help her upstairs and to wheel her along in her wheelchair. That's what I thought your role was, a practical one. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where I think the problem lies. Elijah is overstepping his role. And Elijah wasted absolutely no time in questioning Caleb. And he asked, did you guys kiss yet? And they both said no. And he said, really? What, you just fell asleep after 13 years of waiting to get to know her? What? Elijah, this is none of your business. I know you think you're trying to help your girl, but this is unhelpful. They've been here half a day. Let them get used to each other, let Caleb get acclimatised to Turkey, and then see what happens. We see it on this show all the time. People usually do not jump into bed together on the first night if they've never met before. I don't think that's weird at all. I really don't. And then Elijah tells production there's tension between the couple. It seems like they don't really know each other. Question for Elijah. Do you think you're a helpful tool in reducing that tension? Do you? Because I tell you what, I bloody don't. And Alina's now moaning to production and she says Elijah's being totally cold to Caleb. And I make her completely right. Elijah, what's your end game? What does winning look like to you? Winning to me in this scenario, if I were you, would look like my friend gets together with Caleb and they live happily ever after. That's winning. Winning doesn't look like you piss Caleb off so much that he thinks, I kind of like Alina, but her best friend is such a fucking ball ache. I'm going to do the 2 weeks here and we'll call it a day. That's not a win. It isn't. Not for you and not for Alina. And then they decide to go on a trip to a mosque. And off they trot. And so they look around the mosque and, the truth be told, it's quite contemporary. I thought they would have chosen something a little bit older, but anyway, maybe that's just me. But Caleb decides he wants to go upstairs. And Alina said, I'll stay down here. And so Caleb and Elijah go upstairs together. And whilst they're upstairs, sitting cross-legged, Caleb decided to do his energy speak. If you really relax your body, up through it, you really feel things. You can open up your chakras. And you can open up your energy centres. Oh God, guys, when Caleb said that he loved crystals, I didn't think he meant meth. What's this boy on? And it was quite funny because Elijah goes to production and he said, I don't know what he was talking about. It was really weird. In fact, it was quite awkward. And he tells them he's still trying to figure Caleb out. Oh really, Elijah? Then please let the Ebird be of some help. And just to let you know, I'm going to be more benevolent and more helpful than ever I've been before. Here in a nutshell is Caleb. Like I said earlier, Caleb likes the sound of his own voice and the sight of his own reflection. Caleb could be the man of Alina's dreams. That is, if she dreams of a self-centred, faux eco-warrior. Caleb's got a hard drive full of dick pics and he sends them to himself. Caleb's secret in full is that he cultivates weird eccentricities in a desperate bid to make himself seem more interesting, and it doesn't really work. There, if you need to know any more, just say the word. But it would seem that Elijah just really isn't happy with Caleb, and he tells production the guy that wants to be with beautiful Alina needs to treat her like a queen. Really? Which queen? Perhaps Anne Boleyn. She was lucky enough to have her head chopped off. Perhaps Marie Antoinette. Exactly the same fate befell her. Or perhaps he should treat her like Mary Queen of Scots. Maybe she should go around murdering plucky Protestants. Oh, Elijah, the Ebird wants to know, which queen should Alina be treated like? And I gotta tell you, this whole "you're my queen" diatribe is so forced and so contrived, it's really begun to bore me. Treat women the same as you treat men, like you're equal, like a human being, with respect. That's it. There is no special treatment for certain types of people. Literally treat everybody the same. Treat people as you would like to be treated. And as long as Caleb does that with Alina, I have no problem. And then the three of them decide to go to dinner, and Elijah brings a guest, his little black cloud. So they sit in the restaurant, and to cut a long story short, Elijah has problems with the following. Caleb pouring his drink before he poured Alina's. According to Elijah, this is ill-mannered. And Alina butted in and said, well, it's because he's American. It's not my fault he's American. That's what Americans are like. I find that not to be true. Pour the other person's drink first. That's a Calebism. That's what Caleb's like. Elijah also had a problem with the fact that Caleb has been dating other girls. But Caleb points out, quite rightly, that he and Alina had never met in person, and so they were seeing other people in the meantime. And he stated quite clearly and firmly that Alina is now his focus. Who knows what a fuckboy focus is going to be like? It's going to be interesting to find out, I guess. And Elijah also has problems with the fact that Caleb doesn't really understand an awful lot about Alina's disabilities. But I have to say, Elijah, I think that's a work in progress. As he comes up against these problems, he's going to work out how to deal with them. But then they talk about Alina's ex-boyfriend. And Alina explains that even though she went out with him for 6 months, she's only just stopped living with him, but Caleb doesn't know about that. I don't think that's a big deal, particularly because they've never met before, so whatevs, I think. But then Caleb was rather rude. Elijah was eating his sandwich in the restaurant, and he hadn't quite finished, but then Caleb said, Elijah, it seems that you've done eating. What are you going to do now? I can't believe this, guys. What a dismissal. What are you going to do now? And Elijah said, yes, well, I'm going to go back to my room. And Caleb said, I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow. But guys, that was some ballsy dismissal. And then Alina and Caleb decided to leave and go back to the room. When they got back to the room, they had a bit of a kiss and a cuddle and a make-out session on the bed. And that's where we leave things for this week. So guys, things seem to be looking up. I think because Alina is so feisty and forceful, Caleb really seems to appreciate that personality type, and I think that's drawing him towards her. I've really got a good feeling about this relationship. Something tells me that it could work. It really could. But what do I think to Elijah? Well, I like Elijah. I do genuinely think he's a very good friend to Alina, and I think he has her best interests at heart. I just don't think the way that he behaves towards Caleb is the right way to behave towards somebody. Thus far, Caleb hasn't done anything wrong at all. Okay, his leggings roughed up my retinas a bit, fair enough. He's a fuckboy, but it's self-admitted. I don't mind what somebody does as long as they're honest about it. And is he a little bit self-centred? Yeah, he is, but Alina, what you have to realise is what you've done is you're looking at an F-boy who's very good looking, who appears to have his arms around the world. So that person isn't the same person that pours your drink for you or thinks of everything from your point of view before their own. That's not that person. And Elijah, whilst you might think that's the person that Alina should be with, that's not the person that Alina has chosen. And I think we need to be very cognizant of that. Also, what's important to Elijah doesn't seem to be as important to Alina. For Alina, she wants that connection they've always had, that flirtiness. That's what she's looking for. I've never once heard her say, I want to be treated like a queen. I think she wants to be as independent as possible. And I think that's the way that Caleb is going to treat her. I don't think it's any bad thing. So I think to summarise, what I'm going to say to Elijah is step off a bit, be a bit more open, be a bit more chilled out. Help out when you needed to help out. And at all other times, keep your mouth shut. Asking about Caleb's lost relationships wasn't your place. It's something that Alina is very much more than capable of asking herself if and when she wants to know. She might want to find out how long was this person, how long was that person, what happened here, what happened there. You can't do all of that at a dinner table. You need to get your prey in your own crosshairs and fire, not in someone else's crosshairs. Saying she should be treated like a queen is not for you to say. Saying how and when the relationship should get physical, again, is not for you to say. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that Elijah is all up in their business for no particular reason? Or do you just think he's being a good friend and he's correct to stand up for Alina? Let me know in comments down below and I'm going to get on with my next video. Thank you guys so much for listening. And a quick reminder to say, please don't forget to press the big red subscribe button and make Ebird a very happy Ebird. And also smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. You've been listening to Ebird Online and I bid you good day.